Greetings, friends of Silly Pickle. It is my pleasure to come to you to talk to you about how you can experience reading with your child. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to view this video. If you are the parent or caregiver of a child who is 3, 4, or 5 years old, this video clip is designed especially for you. I have only one objective for this instructional video, and that is to give you user-friendly guidelines in helping your little learner become a successful reader and then a lifetime learner. The outcomes that I am hoping for, there are 3. First of all, you will be encouraged, I hope, as your child's caregiver, that you are doing a great job. And you already are doing a great job. Secondly, you will see that you need to invest only 20 to 30 minutes for 4 days a week to read with your child. Now, I want to say this is not to take the place of the time that you do homework if your child is older. Number 3, to help you make memories with your child which will last a lifetime. So, shall we get started? First, let me tell you just a few things about who I am and what I do. My name is Dina Booyer, and I just recently retired from 17 years of teaching children in grades kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. My career of choice was given to me by God. I always say that God designed me to be a teacher of young children, and I absolutely loved everything that I did within that context. I was married for 39 years to my wonderful husband, Bill Booyer, who is now with the Lord. I am a mother of 2 grown sons. They are both married, and there are 2 lovely grandchildren now. Also, you might hear in the background my little rescue. She's up there howling and barking because she wants to come down and join us. So that's where I am now, and I am in my home. I wanted to do the video clip in my home to show you that what you're going to do in your home is so easy to do. And again, you will be building memories. I started writing Silly Pickle stories about 7 years ago. Now, as I said, I taught for 17 years. The last 10 years, I have actually taught in public school. And during the last 7 years, just for fun, I started writing these stories. Teachers today have access to so many excellent resources. So it wasn't that I necessarily needed to write these stories, but I would write them based on the needs of the students whom I was teaching. A lot of them were at-risk students in the school that I served. At the time that I served, 80 to 90% of the children lived at or below the poverty line. So I just wrote these stories, printed them out, just sent them home for fun, never to really expect them to come back. And the children loved them. Now, again, let me say, there are plenty of resources out there. So this is just something that I've created that I would like for you to use at home. If teachers want to use them at school, that's great too. But these are user-friendly, and I'm going to be making a way to get these to you in an easy, inexpensive way. I was born in 1954 in Dallas, Texas. I had amazing, loving, nurturing parents. I had a brother. We had dogs. Growing up, my parents provided to me a great education. And then I went on to graduate from Baylor University down in Waco, Texas. During my senior year, I met my husband, Bill Booyer. That's another story. I'll tell that one another day. But the Lord was very gracious to me to bring him into my life. He was a pastor. He served as a pastor for 41 years. So now let's talk about some easy peasy strategies and things that you can do with your little learner at home. You are probably already doing a lot of these things. You go, girl. First of all, you need to have in your toolbox some tools to help you do what we call shared reading at home. The first tool in your toolbox, you've probably already done this. You need to create the environment for your child. First of all, free the space of all distractions. You're thinking, well, what does she mean by that? Well, obviously, you can't move everything out of your room, and I'm not telling you to do that. But what I am saying to do is to turn off the TV, move your cell phone, even if you have to move it into the next room so that it won't distract you unless you're waiting for an emergency phone call or an emergency text. But your child will appreciate the fact that you're focused completely on her. Number 2, in your environment, you really only need a little bit of space. Again, don't rearrange your furniture. You might want to sit on the floor. You might want to sit on the sofa like I'm doing here. You might want to hold your child in your lap. But in any case, your child needs to be very close to you in proximity. And the book needs to be placed in your lap to where both of you can see the words. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. Here is a very, very important detail for you to remember. Please don't do chores during this time. I know you're very busy. I get that. But if you'll just take even 20 minutes, even 15 minutes to sit with your child and to completely focus on your child, you will reap the benefits, and so will your child. If you don't have time for that, I get that. And I'm not judging you. I'm not coming across as critical. But perhaps there's someone else in your life, like your mother or a sister, the child's aunt, or a grandparent, or even an older, responsible sibling that can do these things with your child. If you have in your home younger children, a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, or an infant, it's very important that the younger siblings somehow can be engaged in some other kind of activity. I know this is very difficult. Those of you who have more than one child, I get that this is very, very difficult. But if the other child can be engaged in something else, again, away from the child that you're reading with, maybe the younger child can have some iPad time or some TV time, or maybe it's his nap time. Again, what I'm trying to stress here is that you focus on the one child who you're doing the shared reading with. This is quality time for you and for the one child. If you do this with your child 4 times a week for a minimum of 20 minutes, your child is going to feel loved and valued. Oh, good grief. Now, I've been watching this video of this crazy lady named Dina Booyer, and she's telling me that I have to read, what? She's telling me that I have to read 20 minutes 4 days a week, and I have a sick baby. In fact, she just threw up all over me, and I can't. Raina, where's the tissue? Is there any tissue in the bathroom?
I'll go
Would
check.
you go see? Because all I can find is paper towels right now. I have to wipe her nose. And
There's no tissue.
Well, go get some toilet paper. You know where the bathroom is?
Yes.
Okay. Ugh, good grief. And I don't even have time to go over to the trash can and throw it away. Can't find my tissue. I've got all these things that I got at Hobby Lobby. Isn't this cute? Look at this. Kid, you're going to be great. Isn't that cute? Raina, would you come get the baby? Get the baby, wipe her nose. She's going to throw up again. She probably has a nasty diaper. And then I have people coming over tomorrow night. I've got to set the table. I have bills to pay. I'm supposed to go to Belk and get in on this biggest stock-up sale ever. I'm probably going to miss that. Story of my life. Have to pay bills. Have to work on silly pickle packets. I mean, I really don't have time. Okay, girls, I know you don't have time. I get that. I was where you are now. And if you just have somebody in your life, a neighbor, a responsible babysitter, a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, or like Raina, a very responsible older sibling in your family who can spend that time reading to your child, it's all good. That person will make memories with your child and will help your child to become a reader and a lifelong learner. And I will say one more thing. The vacuuming can wait. Some of this can wait. Just put it all in a big box and get to it when you can. This is the next tool in your toolbox. As you can see, Willa, the American Girl doll, is sitting next to me. She's going to be my pretend child now. The next tool in your toolbox is to take the book and talk about the front of the book and the back of the book. You may be thinking, Dina, this is so silly. Well, actually, this is what we call a pre-reading skill. That if they enter kindergarten knowing that this is the front of the book, and you see how I'm taking my hand and touching it, and that this is the back of the book, your child will be ahead of the game when she enters kindergarten. And then after you teach that to her, she should be able, when you put the book aside, she should be able to pick it up and show you where the front of the book is and where the back of the book is. Before you even open up the book, ask the child to tell you what they see in the picture, and prompt your child to tell you big details and even the little details within the picture. Once you start to prompt her, she's going to pick up what it is that you want her to say. Again, we call this reading the pictures. Again, you might be thinking, Dina, is this really important? Well, yes, it's critical because this is a developmental stage that your child goes through. They need to read the pictures first before they're ever able to read the words. We're going to take what we call a picture book, and you're going to hold the book where the child can see the words alongside of you. And all we're doing is talking about the pictures. You might want to say something like this. We're looking at the first page that we read. You might want to ask questions, or you might want to just go ahead and tell the child, this is Silly Pickle. Now, if the child already knows, let the child tell you who it is. Then you ask your child to tell you what they see. And the idea is that they're going to talk about how this is Silly Pickle, she's wearing a hat, the colors in her hat, there's a flower in her hat. Also, talk about how she feels. How does Silly Pickle feel? Well, the child's probably going to say something like sad or mad. Then ask the child, why do you think she feels that way? And even if she doesn't know yet, leave it kind of a mystery because you're going to get to that when you read the words. And keep talking about the pictures, keep taking that picture walk, take all the time you need. Now, let's say that you get to the third page and you've only spent maybe 5 minutes or even 3 minutes doing this. And the child gets restless, loses focus, then you're going to stop. And the two of you go on to other activities. Again, you might be thinking, well, isn't your child going to not learn responsibility and not learn how to stay focused? your child is only 3 or 4 or 5 right now, their attention span, according to research, is only as many minutes as they are old. Now, I have found that a 5-year-old typically has a little bit longer attention span than that. But if you don't stop when they lose focus, then you're going to create an environment to where they're not going to love to read. They're going to see it more as a chore or as a punishment. And you don't want that. Take as long as you need to take that picture walk and to spend time on every page. These illustrations are very, very simple, and you might not spend that much time, or your child may be very, very articulate and wants to describe everything that they see and how the character feels. So let them do that. This is a part of their development. When you get to the end of it, then you're going to say something like, now I'm going to read the words to you. So you go back, first of all, go back to that cover. And this time, as you read the words, you're going to point to the words. And you're going to point to the words in such a way that your child can see them too. Silly pickle in a hat. You're also going to point out who the author is. Just point and read. It's that simple. Written by Dina Bouyer. Illustrated by Bethany Martin. Your child may say, what does that mean? What does the word illustrate or illustrated mean? This is a great opportunity to explain the meaning of that word. Then turn to the first page of the text. Oh, by the way, in each book that I'll be writing and sending on out on Amazon, $9.99 plus tax if you live in North Carolina. This page is for you to read, and it's laid out so simply for day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. At the beginning of this book, and it will also be at the beginning of most of the books that will be written, it gives you an introduction to who Silly Pickle is. Read this to your child. It's important that your child understand who Silly Pickle is, where she lives, and who her parents are. So I'm going to model for you now how to read the story, starting with the introduction. Silly Pickle. Once upon a time, there lived a little girl named Silly Pickle. Silly Pickle was not a pickle. However, she was a very smart, cute, and creative little girl. Silly Pickle was born to Mr. and Mrs. Pickle, who lived in a small cottage on a farm nestled in the hills of Virginia. She was surrounded by fruits, vegetables, and several kinds of farm animals. She was happy, friendly, and very smart, even as a little baby. Silly Pickle did not like to wear a hat. And if you'll notice, I'm using facial expressions. I'm using different expression in my voice. Because just think, how boring is it not to use inflection in your voice? And if you ever come to a part in the story where a character is talking, create the voice for what the character you think sounded like. Be sure to point to the words as you read them. Silly Pickle did not like to wear a hat. Her cat did not like hats. Stop and talk about what is taking place. How did the characters feel? And be sure and model how to respect the book, how to turn the pages carefully. Her dog did like to wear a hat. Her dad liked to wear a cap. Silly Pickle had a blue cap too. Mom had a red cap. Her mom likes to wear a red cap. Her mom had a blue cap too. But Silly Pickle did not like to wear a hat or a cap. And that is the end. Now for the younger child, that's as far as you go. Thank you so much for tuning in.